This forecast is for Leo and Leo rising. If you're unsure about your ascendant sign, you can calculate it on a reliable astrology site, or just message me with your birth time and place, and I'll help you figure it out. April doesn't begin with action. It begins with a shift in direction. As early as March 29th, a solar eclipse in Aries lights up your 9th house, the area that governs travel, education, publishing, long-term vision, and personal philosophy. But this eclipse isn't the kind that comes with fireworks. It may feel like a turning point that happens inside, a deep realization that something in your worldview is no longer enough. You might suddenly feel called to apply to study, leave the country, take a spiritual leap, or write something that's been building for years. There's a sense of wanting more, not just materially, but mentally and spiritually. But at the same time, the energy is heavy, slow, and emotional. As Mercury enters Pisces on March 30th, joining Venus, Saturn, and the North Node in your 8th house, things become foggy and tender. This is a house that deals with shared finances, intimacy, vulnerability, trust, fear, and inner transformation. You might be dealing with uncomfortable money matters. Taxes, debts, inheritances, joint resources, or going through a quiet emotional reckoning in a relationship. It could also stir up anxiety, old grief, or even spiritual confusion. You may not know where this is all going yet. That's okay. The 8th house teaches us to feel before we move. The first week of April brings a string of moments that dig deep. Venus conjuncts the node on April 3rd, reconnecting you with karmic relationship or financial themes. Then, Venus meets Saturn on April 7th, and that could feel like a confrontation with emotional limits. What are you still holding on to out of fear? That same day, Mercury stations direct, and you may start to gain clarity around something that's been stuck since mid-March, but very gradually. You might be revisiting something from the past, a relationship wound, a debt, a buried emotion. Or you might feel like a part of you is trying to end, to dissolve, so something else can emerge later. The focus isn't yet on taking bold steps. The skies are asking you to sit with what's unresolved, so that when the momentum returns, your slate is clear. After a murky and emotionally intense start to the month, the skies begin to shift. What was stuck starts to loosen. What was hidden starts to speak, and you begin to move from feeling your way through to understanding what's actually unfolding. The effects of the solar eclipse in Aries on March 29th continue to reverberate, especially now that Mercury is direct. You're starting to feel pulled towards something, a big idea, a trip, a course, a higher path. You may not be ready to shout it from the rooftops yet, but inside, you're making plans. Then comes a powerful emotional checkpoint. April 13th brings a full moon landing in your 3rd house. This is the part of your chart that rules communication, short trips, contracts, paperwork, tech, writing, and siblings or neighbors. Something could come to light, an important conversation, a deal closing, a transportation issue, or a need to finally express something you've been holding back. This is a time when words matter. And it's not just about saying what needs to be said, it's about how, with grace, balance, and honesty. If the beginning of April was about emotional clearing and the middle about gaining clarity, the second half of the month is when the flame reignites in you. On April 18th, Mars enters Leo and your 1st house, and suddenly everything feels more physical, immediate, and urgent. Mars here brings raw energy, courage, drive, anger, ambition, and the need to move your body, express your will, and make visible progress. You might feel like you've been sitting still for too long, and now you want to shake off the heaviness and show up in the world with presence. This can be the moment you launch something, take control of a situation, or push forward on a personal goal. You may also feel more confident in your appearance, your voice, and your ability to make decisions. Just watch out for impulsiveness, especially in how you assert yourself. Leo Mars can be powerful, but it can also come off aggressive if you're not grounded. Only one day later, on April 19th, the sun moves into Taurus, landing in your 10th house of career, status, and long-term direction. This shift draws focus toward how you're seen, publicly and in the broader structure of your life. What are you building? What do you want to be known for? What kind of legacy do you want to shape? You don't have to figure it all out at once, but you may feel a growing urge to align your external world with who you've become internally over the past few weeks. Maybe it's time to update your professional profile, take leadership on a project, or start thinking seriously about a new business or position. With the sun in your 10th, your efforts are seen. This isn't the time to stay small. This energy builds toward the new in Taurus on April 27th. Also in your 10th house, this is a powerful reset for career, reputation, and public path. It's the ideal moment to set an intention around something you want to grow over time, something stable, practical, and long-lasting. Think of this as planting a seed. You won't see results immediately, but what you put into motion now could bring success in the coming months. This might be a quiet negotiation, a private promise to yourself, or even a conversation with someone who helps you take the next step. Underscoring all of this is a rare and supportive aspect. Saturn in Pisces sextiles Uranus, linking your 8th and 10th houses. Saturn brings structure. Uranus brings change. And when they work together, they allow for sustainable innovation, shaking things up without breaking them. For you, this could look like restructuring your finances or letting go of old obligations so you can pursue a more aligned career direction. Or it could mean shifting the kind of clients, partnerships, or investments you're willing to take on. It's a quiet but liberating moment, one where you realize, I can grow if I'm willing to release what no longer fits. Taken together, this phase of April is about stepping into your role, not just privately, but publicly. You're not just feeling the change now, you're becoming it, with action, clarity, and presence. As the month winds down, you're no longer just clearing space or preparing. You're already in motion. You've tapped into a new direction, begun shifting how you show up publicly, and started asserting yourself with more confidence and purpose. But there's still one more thread to weave in, and it's perhaps the most reassuring one of all. Throughout April, Jupiter moves through Gemini, your 11th house. This house rules your long-term goals, your wider network, your allies, and the communities you're part of. It's where your hopes for the future lie, not just your personal dreams, but your place in something larger. While so much of the month focused on inner shifts because of the 8th house, personal growth, 9th house, and professional moves, 10th house, and Jupiter in the 11th reminds you, you're not alone in this. Whether it's a friend, a mentor, a group you're part of, or even your online community, support is available. Doors may open through conversations, chance encounters, or simply being willing to reach out. You might not see fireworks, but the right offer or the right idea may land at just the right time. This is also a good moment to re-engage with your vision for the future. What kind of world do you want to live in, and how do you want to contribute to it? Jupiter here helps you dream bigger, and Gemini keeps things light, flexible, and open to exploration. Don't worry about having it all figured out. Just stay connected and curious. You may be surprised what opportunities show up through your circles. So as the month closes, here's where you stand. You've cleared space for a new chapter. You've reconnected with your beliefs and direction. You've taken real steps toward visibility and leadership. And now, you're beginning to build a future, not in isolation, but with the help of others. If April felt like a lot, it was, but it's also a beginning. Not a sprint, but a launch. And what you launch this month, whether quietly or boldly, could carry you into a new chapter with more clarity, support, and agency than you've had in a long time. If this forecast helped you feel seen or prepared, go ahead and like this video, subscribe to the channel, and let me know in the comments what resonated most. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you next month.